The Lunar New Year time is great because it's beautiful to pass down those traditions. There's this running joke in Asian culture that your family will never say that they love you, but they'll bring you like a plate of food, and that's their way of showing it to you. Sharing a meal and just spending that time together is really the most important part of the holiday, I think. Hi, my name is Remy Morimoto Park. I am a vegan food blogger. I go by my two last names, so I'll use my mother's maiden name and then also my dad's last name because I think it kind of pays homage to both of the cultures, or all three of them in my family. So my mom is Japanese and Taiwanese, and then my dad is fully Korean. I think my mom and dad are the main people kind of passing down the traditions. They did a pretty good job just making sure that we knew all of our cultures enough. And this way we get like the best of all three worlds with the best food on the table. And it's just like the best. My family loves food, so. I think food is a really awesome way to introduce people to culture, which I'm very fortunate about. When I was 7 years old, my family made our first move overseas. We lived in Taiwan, actually, and then we ended up in China. And then when we moved to Asia, I actually felt like I kind of wasn't Asian enough. Like I was more American than every Asian there. So being from mixed cultures is kind of tricky because I feel like I'm always looking for one culture that I identify with the most. Now I feel like I'm in a good place where I'll take inspiration from all three when it comes to work, ideas, like creativity, cooking especially. I went vegan around the time I started college, and that was also when I started cooking for myself. So when I started sharing recipes, it was a lot of buffalo cauliflower. I mean, it's delicious, but we definitely don't have that in Asia, and it has nothing to do with my cultural background. And then as soon as I started to lean into what I knew best and my culture and family recipes, that's when I feel like it felt the most authentic for me, and people could tell too. Even though it's online, I feel like you can get a feeling for the energy through the screen. So I'm really glad that I had that moment. So my first Lunar New Year, I really remember the food and the money, because one of the traditions that you'll do is you'll wear either a Chinese or a Korean dress, and you'll ask your elders, so your grandparents, anyone who's older than you will give you money in like a red envelope type of thing. Red is very auspicious. It's like a lucky color and it has a lot to do with good fortune. So a lot of the foods that we eat, they're also very symbolic in that way. So it's all about like a new beginning. I think when I was younger, I thought that it just made me different, but not necessarily in a great way. I felt like I stuck out a little bit and that my friends couldn't really understand what Lunar New Year was. And the best thing about it is that we get to celebrate just more often, because we do celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of that, you know, with the American cultures, and then we have these amazing Asian cultures. So we just get to celebrate twice. And I think that's really cool. The lunchboxes, my grandma would prepare them every morning for the New Year. My grandmother's role in the family, she is the handyman, she's the chef, she is like the best babysitter, you know, like everybody loves to hang out with her. She's the interior decorator, she just like does it all, and she plays tennis. So she's like an icon. I want to be her when I grow up. I think she thinks I'm really annoying when she's cooking with me. She's like, you're slowing me down, you're not cutting it nicely enough. The experimenting with the vegan thing, it's like a new realm for her, and it requires a little bit of creativity. So she's looking at ways to kind of make things from a mushroom stock instead of fish, for example, and that's been super fun. In our cultures, meat is considered to be very much like a blessing, and when your grandparents want to feed you something good, that's what they think of. And my grandpa told me, I can't believe you just want to eat the vegetables and the rice. Like, what about the good stuff, you know? And then I started doing some research into kind of the religious groups in each of my cultures, so specifically kind of the Buddhist groups, and a lot of them do really eat mostly vegetarian or vegan mock meats. And once I brought that up with my family members, they were a lot more familiar with that kind of eating and were open to it a little more. And then we started kind of brainstorming, how can we make this family dish that we love vegan friendly? And now it's like a really fun thing to do, and it kind of helps, I think, everybody eat more vegetables, so it's not a bad thing. So we are starting off with the
Korean pancake.
Bobby likes this one a lot.
Yes,
it's one of her favorites.
Yes, my favorite.
And we're making it with all vegetables. So the Korean pancake, I think of it as like kind of a party food, and I make a vegetable version, so it's called a Yachaejeon, and it's really easy to make. You just slice up whatever vegetables you have. Usually I go with zucchini, carrots, some bean sprouts, and then you use your batter, and you could use either a mung bean batter or a flour batter. There are a couple different varieties of pancake, and you can make big pancakes or little pancakes, right?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like I'm a professional.
Pancake is ready. Grandma's going to give it the official taste test before we put them into the box.
Nice.
So the Taiwanese rice cake dish is called Chao Nian, and it just means a stir-fried rice cake. So we have rice cake in all three of my cultures, but the Taiwanese version, they'll slice it up into thin slices and stir-fry it like it's a noodle, but it's a lot more chewy. We'll also kind of replicate the symbol of the moon through the food. So the rice cakes are circular. It's a lot of like round white foods. It's one of the first dishes that I tried to recreate because I missed it so much, and it was a success. So the black beans, you eat them both in Korean culture and Japanese culture. They're pretty much the same as far as the seasoning goes. That one is supposed to be prepared in advance to kind of give you a break so that you don't have to be cooking after you've been slaving away in the kitchen for a long time. They're served cold, they're a little bit salty, but also sweet, and they're very iconic. So Japchae is a Korean glass noodle dish. It's actually very veggie heavy, so you can totally just make it without the meat, just pull it out and it's still just as good. Looks good. I think the great thing about it is that for the new year, it's especially symbolic because it's long noodle strands. But one thing about this time of year is like you do not cut the noodles. So you have to kind of slurp the entire noodle because it represents your long life and you don't want to cut that short. Next up, we're gonna make the lotus root. I'm doing this one solo with my grandma's instructions. And this one's very, very simple. These are good fortune because you could see your future through the holes in them. So it's a little bit prophetic in that way and just supposed to be, yeah, good fortune for the new year. I think infusing my culture brings me a sense of home through food. And that's something that I've struggled with having moved around so much that I just don't really know what physical place is home. And so for me, it's in the people and it's in the food and where I decide it is, I guess. Everything has been cooked and we're ready to put everything into the lunchbox. And this is where it's gonna look so beautiful all together, very colorful. We've got lots of different shapes going on and this is really the best part. Pancake's going in. It's beautiful to see it visually represented in this like beautiful box. It's like the best parts of each culture on one plate or in one box. I think with the Japanese lunch boxes, we are really creating a dish that's representative of all of my cultures and the way that we've kind of blended them together. So it's a very traditional vessel, very much a Christmas morning feeling where you're like opening up the box. I love that she was in charge of it because it felt so special, like having this lunchbox that she put so much love and time into. And I'll have to learn to take it over totally one day, but she's really the master of them.
Now, time to eat.
I think when we eat food together, it's like the most intimate time that we share. And yeah, no matter what happens during the day, if we have like an argument, we're all gonna sit down at the table at the end of the day. So it's nice to know that. Feeling different in the sense that you're eating vegan and then also feeling like you can't even relate to your own culture, it makes it difficult for a lot of people. And food should be easy, food should be fun, food should make you happy, and it should be something that you enjoy cooking and exploring. So I think if you're ever struggling with authenticity as far as it relates to culture, it's really important to remember that even if you're not eating the dish the way that you grew up eating it, if you make modifications or you don't speak the language, that it's still your culture and you own that. I think what's so beautiful about what we see now is like the mixing and sharings of cultures. And it's just so much more fun when you have like different flavors and spices versus just one thing. Life is so much better when it's colorful. I love getting to share my Lunar New Year celebrations and my family's traditions with you all. Make sure to check out the other episodes in the series and don't forget to subscribe to Target's YouTube channel.